Hey folks, Matt Cuda here. Thanks for joining me for another live broadcast. Sorry about yesterday. Originally, I was going to do a 12:15 broadcast. That was had to be canceled because my daughter had um, driver's ed training, which I forgot about, and so I couldn't do it. So she's doing online Zoom classes. So anyway, no harm, no foul. Um, I guess first, just thanks for everything you've been doing for me lately. Been lots of encouragement online, lots of sales throughout the holidays, and I do appreciate that. Don't forget to go out there. I'm still doing the giveaway. This week's the last week for that, and we'll be starting a new giveaway after that one. So, not going to belabor the point here today. I want to get right into the behind the shot image this week. So, the image I chose this week is the blue jay. It's kind of the Christmas blue jay, if you will. I think I often refer to it as, blue jay in winter or something like that. But it's really a Christmas blue jay. It's around that time. It's maybe a week or two after Christmas. So I want to get right into that. Now, I come from a place that's called Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. And it's a small town. It's a small town up north in Pennsylvania, right along the New York State Pennsylvania border, about midway along the state. It's a tiny town of about 3,000 people. And it's a town that gets quite a bit of snow. And because of that, I really have a strong affinity for snow. And here's the picture you can see here. This is of Pennsylvania, Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. It is one my brother took. And this is the kind of thing that you can see certainly in Wellsboro. In a typical January, February scenario. Sometimes at Christmas we got heavy snow up there, but typically you see a lot of heavy snow in January, February. Sometimes a lot of snow, sometimes not so much. A lot like here in some ways. But I have an affinity for snow because of that. And so what you're going to see is the fact that even though in North Carolina we don't get a lot of snow, and that's where I live now, is North Carolina. We don't get a lot of snow, but when we do, I try to take advantage of that and offer and photograph birds in the snow. And so that's what inspired this image. Let's go back to the blue jay now. Okay. Sorry, it takes a long time to do this, and it's kind of silly, actually, that it takes this long, but... Okay, so this is the blue jay, the Christmas blue jay, if you will. Now, in North Carolina, we grow, for our Christmas trees, we grow what's commonly called the Fraser fir. And the Fraser fir is a pretty, it's in my mind, it's about the best Christmas tree you can have, just in my personal opinion. They are very soft to the touch. The needles are very soft. It's a very full tree. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to photograph a blue jay on top of a Fraser fir? And so I looked for a Fraser fir to get, and got it set up for this shot. Now, if you know anything about blue jays typically, they love a very strong perch. They're large and not heavy, but they're heavy for a bird. a songbird, and they love to perch on something that's really sturdy. The top of a Christmas tree, or in this case a Fraser fir, same difference, provides that kind of rigidity that they need to light on. And I knew they would land on it as soon as I got it set up for them. And when the snow started coming down, there I was in my blind, and I was able to photograph this shot. Blue jays are an interesting bird. I remember as a child being introduced to them. My mother was very much into birds, and so was my grandmother, and my grandfather to some degree as well. But I remember, hearing them all the time. When I was growing up, and they just made a horrible sound. I mean, they had that very hot, that very screechy kind of sound. They are relatives of the blackbirds. They're relatives of the corvids, and not COVID, but corvid, and they take on some of those characteristics. They're loud, they're aggressive, but they're beautiful at the same time. They're beautiful birds, very intelligent birds. They will oftentimes play practical jokes on one another. I've seen footage of them actually pretending to bury a nut or something under the ground, and knowing the other birds are watching them, and then they'll sit back and watch the other bird come down and try to get what they thought was being buried, only to find out that it was a practical joke by the other blue jay. So they are a very intelligent bird. They are also mimics. The blue jay is a mimic. The blue jay will try to sound like other birds, particularly the red-shouldered hawk. You'll hear them mimic around here. And the reason that they do that, they're trying to tell the other birds that, hey, there's a hawk, right? They're trying to sound like that hawk, so the other birds fly away, and then they get to food. It works sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't. Most of the birds, they can tell the subtle differences, and so they're used to hearing it. It's one of these things where I think they fall into that category of just a mischievous bird. Some people just really don't like them. I don't have a problem. I'm kind of indifferent with them. They are birdseed hogs, so if you have birdseed, they will eat a lot of it. What they typically will do is they'll store it. They can store it in their throat, in a special pocket in their throat, and so they tend to grab a lot of seed at one time. They'll go back, regurgitate that seed up out of that little pouch, and they'll eat it later. So that's why they tend to really grab all your food out of your feeder. They are designed to be able to withstand the winter, the harsh winters. They're all the way up into Canada. I believe they're all the way into Canada. Yeah, they are. They love pine trees. You'll often see them in pine trees nesting in the wintertime. The pine trees provide a lot of safety, so they're very used to pine trees. That's another reason that they would navigate toward a Fraser fir. And it's an interesting image. This image actually is one of my more popular images. It's been published many times. Probably most recently published on the back cover of NC Wildlife magazine. So this one gets a lot of press, and I think rightly so. It certainly has a lot going for it. I think the tree, I think the snow, the way the bird is contrasting against all that, yet kind of, that blue, that kind of grayish blue that they have, it really lends itself to a snowy scene. The fact that he is just comfortable here, resting, feathers are fluffed out. That shows that whenever you see a bird do this, whenever you see a bird fluff his feathers out like that and perch, that means they are extremely not offended by your presence. Okay, they know you're there. And most of the time, a bird knows you're there, even if you're in a blind. They pretty much know you're there. But they won't fly typically unless you make a really loud noise or make sudden movements, because their instinct is to fly when there's sudden movement. So they see you there. They have great eyesight. They see you there and you're blind. They see your little eyeballs sticking out there. They see the lens sticking out. They know you're there. But this shows that he's very comfortable with me and that this is a very natural shot. And so all those things go together to make it an interesting image, I think. But that's pretty much it on the behind the scenes on this shot. If you enjoyed this photograph, it can be purchased in a lot of different ways now. I have a lot of different methods to obtain this image. I have inexpensive prints, fairly inexpensive prints that are like glossy prints like you would buy, traditionally. I have, of course, what I call a higher quality print, which would be like a watercolor, fiber-based paper. Very fine art looking and interesting. I have metal prints, which have more of a modern feel and look, more three-dimensional look, if you will. All of these look great with this particular image. It's hard to go wrong with any one of those with a Blue Jay like this. Now, I also have started selling merchandise recently, and some of you have seen that out on Facebook. So I've got t-shirts now. I've got coffee mugs. I've got puzzles, interestingly enough. It's the first time I've ever sold puzzles. I've got, let's see what else is out there. T-shirts, hoodies. There's something else I just added. What was it? Of course, there's coasters. You can buy coasters, put your drinks on. I've had those for a long time. I don't have the cell phone covers right now, and that's an interesting story. I used to sell cell phone covers, and one of the problems recently has been that the vendor that's selling those, we had to make some adjustments and so forth. I think they've got them fixed now to where they look right on the screen. It was the screen issue. It wasn't the product. It wasn't that the product was bad. It was the screen wasn't showing them properly, and I think that's fixed now. So you may see them being introduced in the next week or so. But yeah, there's just a lot of different things out there now, a lot of different ways. Some people, they just don't have any wall space. They live in an apartment, or whatever the photograph is doesn't match their decor, but they really like it. It's like I'm attached to this image. The black bear is a perfect example. It's probably my most popular image. That makes a great T-shirt. It would make a great coffee mug. It would make a great puzzle, to be honest with you. Now the puzzles, you kind of have to be careful a little bit with the puzzles. They show a little different on the screen. They tend to want to show horizontally when in fact they're actually, the bear is actually vertical, so it won't look right on the puzzle. So you got to take into consideration things like that when you're buying, but there's just a lot of different options out there, all price points. No sale right now. I've been running just sale after sale after sale. This weekend there will not be any sales. Thinking about doing something next week. We'll see how that goes. I did want to let you know about my gift cards. I do have gift cards out there. Now, gift cards are purchased electronically. And that could be a last minute gift item. If you can't think what to get somebody, they're hard to buy for, but they love animals and they love nature. That could be a potential gift for them as well. So do check those out. But that's really about all I had. Is there anything else I could or need to say? What's coming up in my schedule? I don't have a lot going on right now, obviously, because Christmas is here. Everybody's gearing up for Christmas. We're wrapping presents and going to Christmas parties and all that normal stuff. Um, my thought originally was I would be photographing snow geese down in eastern North Carolina in January, but I don't know. My schedule is kind of crazy right now. I will be going to Florida in the winter, um, or no, in the spring. I will be going to Florida on a massive week-long bird adventure, if you will. So that's my big stuff coming up. But that's really all I had. Keeping it short and simple and sweet today. Thanks for watching. Make it a great day and get out there and enjoy nature. Bye-bye.